Good afternoon, my name is Xavier Kesner, and this is going to be an environmental analysis of the custom-built PC industry. So just a quick overview of the custom-built PC industry is that it's going to be mainly focused for young adults. This is 16 plus video game players, gamers. And this is going to be a relatively new industry. It's only going to be about 5 to 10 years old, really. And there's going to be a huge amount of growth in this industry over the past 5 to 10 years. And this is due to because of esports and gaming, actually. Because of video games and esports, which is electronic sports, becoming more popular and more socially acceptable, you have a higher want for a nicer setup to play video games on and have that little bit of extra competitive advantage over the other person potentially. A custom-built PC is exactly what it sounds like. It is a custom-built personal desktop computer. So this is not a laptop that may sit on your lap or is small and you can carry it around, but this is going to be a full desktop that is a big piece of hardware on or around your desk that is used to power your monitors and power everything. The reason for it being bigger is because the bigger components can do more than a smaller component laptop can. They can run more games at a better rate, they can run it more frequently, and all the stuff that may give you a small competitive edge versus someone else. To get into some of the macro environment relevancies that is going to occur, socially in the socioculture forces is going to be esports. In the past little bit, the 5 to 7 years, as I said before, esports has become a more relevant and socially acceptable movement, just like professional gaming in general. Esports is electronic sports, so it's not physical, but it's all on the computer, all video games, people playing against each other. And for a long time, the motion was that video games can do nothing good for you, and they're bad, they rot your brain, etc. And then there was one notion that, well, video games can improve hand-eye coordination, and then off of that, it's really video games can help this, video games can help that over the past probably around 15 years, until right around the past 5 to 10 years where it's becoming more socially acceptable and people seeing it as a real thing and a real job potentially for certain people. The economic conditions, right now, the industry is doing really well because of the economy. So there's a huge surplus of money right now in the economy. A lot of people are doing really well, and with that, people tend to buy luxury items. A huge luxury item is going to be a custom-built PC. It is going to cost you right around $1,500 on average, so it's not a cheap thing by any means. But the industry is able to thrive right now and grow really fast because people have money and people are willing to spend money on this specific luxury. You also have these esports that have very large prize pools. There's actually just an esports competition of one of the biggest games in the world. Its name is Fortnite. Just a few weeks ago, where a 16-year-old won $3 million. The top prize was $3 million. It was a $20 million prize pool, with first place being $3 million. So not only is the economy doing really well and there's a big boom for people to buy PCs and people have the money to buy these custom-built PCs, but they also are seeing these prizes and these people win an extreme amount of money for being very good at the video game and games in general. And some technological factors is going to be the better hardware that's come out. So because there's so much money right now being thrown into the PC industry, the computer and gaming industry, you have more research and development going towards better hardware, and this is also making it cheaper. Some of the not so relevant macro environmental factors is going to be political, environmental, and legal and regulatory. Political and legal and regulatory, this shouldn't really be affected at all versus the others that have a big social, like, or a big impact, such as a social impact, where it went from people hate video games to now people like video games, or economic, where you had people that don't have money that can't get PCs, and now you have people that do have money and can get PCs. There's nothing like that with political, environmental, or legal and regulatory, in my opinion at least. Now we get into the strength of the competitive forces going into the custom-built PC industry. So Rival Sellers is going to be strong, and this is because you have not too many overall businesses and sellers selling these PCs, but just a few top ones, and that is because these companies that are doing the custom PCs now are mainly companies that were already producing computer parts, but now they are outsourcing certain pieces of the computer plus their own parts to put together these custom PCs and send out to people. There are these huge companies already that are just added something, another product to their product line, which is a custom PC for people to go through their website and fill out and purchase. For potential new entrants, this is going to be weak. For these companies that are big, they don't have a very high competitive force being pushed on them by new entrants, because they're already such big companies that were already successful in some way. They're just adding a new product to the product line. So for a potential new entrant, it's going to be hard for them to get in to the industry and have the resources that these other companies already making computer parts have. For substitute products, I have this as weak/moderate, and the reason I have this, it's more leaning towards the weak side, is because there's not that many substitutes for what a custom-built PC is doing. The reason you buy a custom-built PC is to run certain video games or certain video editing software at a certain rate, at a certain strength. You're doing it for a purpose, and you're having this to do something specific. There's not too many other products that can do that, really none. It's reason I have it at moderate to some extent. A laptop or another desktop that might just be a floor model shelf that you might just go buy that's not custom may be able to do some of it, but it's not going to be able to do all that you need for the person that's buying a custom PC. It's going to be limited on the power that a laptop or model floor has versus the power that your building one has. It's going to be a lot more powerful and run stuff at a much better rate. The supplier bargaining power I have is strong, and this is because these companies that are producing certain components of the PC are outsourcing for other components, because they're not going, one company isn't going to produce all 12 specific pieces that go into a personal computer. They're going to produce maybe 5 or 6 and then outsource the rest, buy them from another company. And that company knows what they're doing, so they have a strong bargaining power. That company is going to have a strong bargaining power when selling them the outsourced pieces they need. Customer bargaining power, on the other hand, is going to be relatively weak because of the culture around it right now. The people that want a custom-built PC really want a custom-built PC. There's not too much in between. So retailers and sellers know this, so they're not going to give the customer too much wiggle room, especially with them outsourcing some materials already, potentially cutting into their profits. So now we are going to be talking about the 3 strongest driving forces that contributed to the industry changes, and that is going to be buyers, new entrants, and substitute products. And that is because there's more buyers now, and this definitely changed the industry. Prior to the past 10 or so years, where video games and esports have become more socially acceptable and more popularized, there weren't nearly that many buyers for a custom-built PC. Why would you need one? I'll just go buy one off like the floor shelf, or I'll get a laptop or anything like that. But now you have this need for the best machine that can run the best games at the best rate, which leads to more buyers, and more buyers means there's the industry is growing, and that leads to more profits for the businesses. So obviously they would want to get in the industry if there's more buyers. Because new entrants is because it's a newish industry. Because it's not an industry that's super old, companies that weren't necessarily in the industry already were able to quickly move into the industry because there's so many buyers now and because they had to meet the demand. Obviously, businesses are going to come in when there's a demand for something. And that's why new entrants is another strong driving force, because other companies that were already producing some are able to producing some PC parts, some components, are able to come in and produce the entire thing. And then substitute products. So people want more. So another driving force is that people wanted a substitute product other than a laptop or floor model shelf PC. They wanted something else. They wanted a substitute, and that led to a custom built PC. And because people wanted it, and because there was the items in place, the products in place weren't good enough, it led to companies making their own PCs, substituting or building custom PCs, substituting other floor models. And next we are going to be talking about industry rivals. And firstly, we're going to be talking about how they are positioned in the market. And most of the industry rivals are positioned in the market on top of the market and extremely strong. A lot of the market is, like I said before, top competitors and top businesses that were already producing computer parts and computer components like NZXT and Logitech and Intel and certain computer components and makers like that are then taking their success in that, and now they see a market emerging for the custom PC industry. They see this market emerging, and they are moving not from building computer parts, but both. They're building their computer parts, and then they're taking those computer parts and putting them together with some other outsourced computer parts to create these custom PCs and send them out to people. So positioning wise, they're really on the top and they own the market because they're already huge companies that are slowly moving into the industry as it expands. And it is expanding quite fast. Some of the strategic moves that those companies may use next are, one, more advertising in esports. They have these products, they know people want these products, and they know they can provide people with custom built PCs that are really, really good. Something I haven't seen in esports as much is the advertisement for this. It's a lot of the advertisement is still for just specific single parts or not custom, but floor model PCs and stuff like that aren't custom, that aren't going to run the certain games and stuff you want to run efficiently as well as they potentially can. And another strategic move that they might try to do is make it cheaper, because the average custom PC is going to cost right around $1,500, which is a lot of money for many people, especially the young adults that are trying to get into it. Potentially making it cheaper is going to be a very big strategic move that might leave some rivals on top of the food chain compared to others that keep their prices high. And lastly, you have if the company and industry has a good profitability or not. Does custom built PCs have a good profitability? And when I first was looking into this, I thought absolutely. When you look over the pestle analysis, political, environmental, and legally, you don't have to worry about too many pressures and too many environmental factors coming from political, environmentally, or legally. And from socially, technology, and economically, There's many factors that are doing very good right now and would lead to me thinking for good profitability, such as socially, people are really liking esports, really liking computers, and really liking that type of industry overall. Technology-wise, we have more technology we do now than any time before, and it's cheaper and faster than before. And economically wise, the economy is doing really well. People have a lot of money right now to spend on luxuries, which this is definitely a big luxury for a lot of people. So having the economy and socially do really well with the technology, meaning it's faster and cheaper, leads me to believe that profitability wise, this is a great industry. However, some of the competitive forces and pressures that is being put on this industry, I think is too high to actually get into this industry and make good profit. I think the companies that are already in this industry are making very good profit, and they will continue to make very good profit because they have such a grip on the industry. But I do not believe that getting into the industry you're going to be able to have good profitability. I believe the companies, the rivals that are already in the industry will have amazing profitability though. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. I'm sorry it's a little long. If there's anything else I need to do, please let me know. Have a great day.